Frontiers in the World of Wellness, and I'm broadcasting live today at the World of Wellness, and I'm excited to talk to you about energy medicine. I actually developed my own method called the Soul Intelligence Method, and it's based on something called bioenergetics. So, if you are in the area and you're interested in learning more about this method, I'm going to be here all day. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a free soul intelligence session tonight, and I will be sure to put the link in the show notes as soon as this broadcast is put up online. So if you're interested in attending that, it's perfectly free. It's at 6 o'clock. So if you get excited when you hear about the method, there's actually a Zoom link. So you don't necessarily have to come live for that session at 6 o'clock, but I would love to meet you in person today. So what is soul intelligence, first of all? And then I'm going to tell you what bioenergetics is. All right. So, in terms of what is soul intelligence is really what I call like the why behind the what, right? And there's really nothing more important than that. It's kind of what gives your life meaning. I think everybody's familiar with the concept of IQ, right? That's like what's going on up in here. We're all focused on our mind and our brain. The next thing that we focus on, or what we've been taught to focus on, is our emotional health, our EQ. As a matter of fact, especially working in corporate America for as long as I had, I noticed that we started to think about how we say what we say is almost more important than what we are saying. And then finally, we talk about soul intelligence, or what I call SQ. And that's really when you're in full alignment with who you are, your mission, your vision, your values, and your purpose. And you feel like you're a part of something greater than yourself. And fortunately for me, doing the work that I do for Nutritional Frontiers in the World of Wellness, I am in full alignment. I am living my life purpose, which is to help make the world healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and ultimately energetically. So for me, soul intelligence is really being led from that higher place. It's really feeling as though you are in touch with the divine of all that is, right? Whatever you consider that to be. Whether that is being out in nature, you feel connected, whether that's being in church or connecting to a divine being like God or an ascended master that we've learned about. But all of that is actually getting you in touch with who you truly are. And it's really kind of interesting. Tonight, when I do a soul intelligence session, I'm going to be focusing on what the energies of the week are. So I don't know if you've ever paid attention to astrology or what's going on with the planets, or you just feel something weird. But this week is kind of interesting. Um, the lunar nodes, which are just basically points in space between the sun and the moon, are shifting. And they shifted on the 17th, 2 days ago. And they shifted, and so everybody is going to be working on things related to relationship. So how they treat themselves as an individual and how they treat others in relationship. Your individuality as much as codependency or feeling your independence. So I don't know about you, but I've talked with lots of girlfriends lately, and things are wacko in the relationship world this week. If that's happening for you, there's an energetic reason. So for the next 18 months, we're all going to be focused on whether we put ourselves first or whether we're putting others first, and how does that play out in our life. So that'll be really interesting. And I'm going to be working on issues related to that later this evening at 6 o'clock tonight. So anyway, what is soul intelligence? Well, first of all, I got to start with energy. Okay. I started talking about IQ, EQ, and SQ. So IQ is really that intuition, that idea, that initial spark in the electromagnetic field. That's the electric part. People say, speak your truth, be careful what you say because it'll manifest. Well, that's where it starts, right? But what magnifies things and brings things into you is the emotion, right? Emotion magnifies everything. As a matter of fact, the Heart Math Institute has shown that there is a 6-foot wide magnetic field around your heart and only a 2-foot wide magnetic field around your brain. Yet we spend all our time up in here, right? Thinking, strategizing, figuring, fact finding, all of that stuff. We spend so much time up here when here is what really brings things into you. It's what collapses the particle wave in the electromagnetic field and brings something into you. That's why, if you ever read The Secret years ago, why affirmations are only a small part of what really brings something to you, right? It's because you're telling your brain, and that's only a small part of the equation. If what you're saying and what you're feeling don't match, what you're feeling will manifest every single time. And the reason that is it's because it's also associated with your subconscious mind. So our subconscious mind is actually running the show 90% of the time. That's really frightening. It's also a good thing, right? We'd stop breathing in our sleep if we didn't have a subconscious mind. But the issue is that's where all of our trauma resides. That's where all of our self-limiting beliefs reside. That's where all of those negative emotions, that negative self-talk happens. And it happens, all of that stuff for most people, you get about 80,000 of those messages a day, just circling through your brain. Kind of crazy when you think about it. So, how do we get through all of that? Well, there is a healthy way to reprogram yourself. I can actually teach you how to brainwash yourself for good. So, while I'm on that, I'll just go there really quickly. So, how do you brainwash somebody? Well, first of all, you isolate them, you control the messaging, you repeat the messaging, and then you either reward with fear or love. Okay. So if you're doing it for good, what you're going to want to do for yourself is to get quiet, get isolated. Okay. Spend some time meditating or in prayer state. Then you're going to actually write out exactly what you want to happen as if it's already happened. And you're going to do that with as much feeling as possible, foreshadowing, acting as if, putting yourself in that situation so your body can actually feel what it's like to achieve those goals or to be with that person that you dream of being with, whatever that is. And then you repeat it. So you're going to want to reread that every day. You're going to want to rewrite that every day. You're going to want to visualize that every day, morning and night, because that's when your subconscious mind takes over, right? It takes over when you're going to sleep and it shuts off right when you're waking. So if that's your first thought and your ending thought, you're going to be more likely able to manifest and bring those things into you. And I use this method all the time. So I highly recommend it. It's really kind of interesting too when people in your life start doing the exact same thing. You want to see things manifest quickly. I don't know if you ever heard the expression where two or more are gathered. Well, that means you're sending all of that energy out into the field. So things are more likely to come in even more immediate if you're all focused on the same goal. Right. And that's what we want to do in business and in teams, right? We want everybody aligned, all on the same mission, all driving for, a purpose bigger than ourselves. And so I feel very fortunate to be a part of the Nutritional Frontiers and World of Wellness family, because that's what we do. We are all committed to helping make the world healthy. And each of us does our part doing that, whether that's in the physical, the mental, emotional, spiritual, or energetic way. So, how do we get to soul intelligence, right? And what is the soul intelligence method? And what am I even talking about? Well, it has to do with science. Okay. I started talking about quantum physics. Okay. That's the electromagnetic field we're all a part of. Everybody and everything is energy. So, bioenergetics is actually the connection between physical and emotional health. It's all about balance between your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? So, it's when we're physically healthy, then we're better able to cope with like stress and emotions. When we're emotionally healthy, our bodies are able to stay in alignment and function properly. So just like you visit a chiropractor here at the World of Wellness, Dr. O, Dr. Ross, when you need a biomechanical adjustment, you need to energetically align your body too. There's always an underlying emotional, energetic root cause to whatever is going wrong in your body. And there's tons of books on it. I have multiple resources. It's fascinating. So I don't know if you've ever tuned in to see Jamie Dorley and I do the holistic truth. But what we do is we not only talk about what's going wrong in somebody's body physically and how to treat it and support it with nutrition and nutraceuticals, but we also talk about what is that emotional component, what's underneath that, and what do we need to work on to permanently shift it. So, um, when you think about somebody's back going out on them completely, I know that's happened to me. Emotionally, it means like they feel like their entire world has gone out from underneath them. It could be financial, it could be just a devastating loss in a family. But if you think about it, if you've ever known someone whose back's gone completely out on them, usually something really traumatic has happened in their personal or financial life. So going to a chiropractor will help, right? Because they're going to help work that spine to go back in. But in order to heal completely, you actually have to energetically get to the root cause of what's causing the dissonance in the frequency, the disharmony in the body, right? What is the energy that actually caused those vertebrae to shift and move out? So how do we go underneath and like look at this scientifically, right? Because I'm a pretty down to earth person. I have been most of my career, I actually worked in corporate America as a revenue generator and a corporate turnaround specialist. So basically fixing everything from marketing and operations and sales to customer service and all those cool things. And that's one of the things that I do for our company today. And while doing that, right, I'm a pretty grounded individual. I'm not like a woo-woo person. So anybody that knows me knows I'm pretty down to earth. So I'm like this spiritual gangster, right? Like this, like navigating how do I work both in this world and in the spiritual world? And how do we bring them together? People always talk about compartmentalizing their lives, right? Oh, my personal life's a disaster. I won't bring it into work. Well, that's total bull, right? It always happens. There's no way you can make that not happen because your life is your life. So I have the opportunity here to be all of me and get the opportunity to use my method to help people shift personally and professionally. For example, I did a 90-day performance review for one of our employees on Monday. So I had my human resources hat on. We discussed performance, what's going really well, where areas of opportunity, what benefits they're eligible for. And then afterwards, they asked me to do a soul intelligence session so we could shift what's going on in their personal life that's not really coming together for them. So it's really cool that I get the opportunity to do both, right? All right, so let's talk about what is bioenergetics and why does this have any validity whatsoever? I want to talk science, right? This is the grounded part of me. So at the basic level, we all know everybody and everything is energy, right? We know this from like fourth grade science class, where protons, neutrons, electrons buzzing around, vibrating. And we all have an electromagnetic field, and we're all part of this big collective magnetic field. So go like a level deeper. Maybe let's switch to like college biology. Our bodies are all protein making machines. All right. And every cell in our body, except our red blood cells, make proteins. And in order for a cell to make a protein, a cell has to be stimulated or regulated, right? The spark or controlled. Our genes are really this library of potentials. And the latest research in the field of genetics says that genes don't actually create disease or dis-ease within the body. It's the environment that signals the gene that begins to create dis-ease in the body. In fact, less than 1% of people are actually born with genetic conditions. And I know Jamie Dorley talks about that all the time, like what's really affecting you. I know Joe Messino talks about that all the time. Most of it is environment and lifestyle, which to a great extent, lifestyle is completely within our control. And environment, we have to do a lot of those things to help mitigate what is not within our control. All of those toxicities that you hear Dr. Tracy Straub and Dr. Judy Mikovits talk about all the time. So let's talk about our internal environment, okay? The correlation between your thoughts, your emotions, and your physical body. Our inner environment is actually affected by our emotional state, which is a key factor in what sends signals to the genes, okay? And causes them to either upregulate, do good stuff, or downregulate and do bad stuff and cause damage. Okay, so the environment signals the gene, and the end product of an experience is called an emotion, energy in motion. And when energy is not in motion, it becomes stuck and trapped in the body. And that's when it causes dis-ease in the body or disharmony, a dissonance in the frequency, and people get stuck with chronic conditions. So think about it. Maybe as a kid, you were told, like, no matter what you did, it was never good enough, right? Because they were trying to get you to do better, right? There was a positive behind why they wanted to do that, maybe. Um, so you're constantly told you're not good enough, you're not good enough. So as an adult, you become this overachiever, right? Does that sound like anybody you know? Okay, maybe me, maybe me. Um, but since we are our thoughts neurologically and our feelings chemically, we embrace the biology of our past experiences. That ultimately becomes our state of being because how we think and how we feel creates our state of being, right? So it's kind of common sense, but here's where it gets really kind of deep, a little interesting. Highly charged emotional events, i.e., trauma, okay, can signal genes that begin to cause the body to change. So if people are focused on the memories and emotions of those past experiences, they can't think, and even to a greater degree, think about how they feel about what happened in their life. That routine has begun to influence their gene expression. Why? There's no new information coming in. You keep saying the same stuff over and over. You keep reliving the trauma. You keep viewing your worldview through these cloudy lenses, right? So the repetitive negative thoughts in their thinking leads to these self-limiting beliefs, right? When you think things over and over and over again, they become a belief and that permeates. As a matter of fact, in my book, Soul Intelligence, I have about 18 different self-limiting beliefs. I have over 100 different negative energies, emotions, and thoughts. I have over 100 archetypes or patterns that we go through. I have a lot of stuff that gets stuck in this thing that needs to shift, right? And I'm actually going to share that with you in a minute. But when we talk about our internal environment, if you're constantly viewing your life through those cloudy lenses of that trauma, of that belief, like maybe I'm invisible or I'm not good enough, right? Then you're going to keep giving the body and the cells that same information. And so you start looking for those circumstances to validate those beliefs, right? Um, but what's happening with the cells is that the body keeps sending the same information over and over again. Now, we all know from Groundhog Day, right, that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. Okay, so we're keeping our cells stuck. We're keeping our minds stuck. We're keeping our emotions stuck. We're physically holding on and creating chronic conditions that are very difficult to shift. So when you give the cells the same instructions produce the same proteins, right? The person begins to experience ill health or dis-ease within the body or that dissonance in their frequency. And that's when we have to go see a functional medicine provider, right? Because something's not going right. So, hello, chronic illness. Hello, repetitive conditions. Hello, Groundhog Day. I'm back at the doctor with the same stuff. Or, hello, I fix one thing and then another thing goes wrong, right? So, basically, if you're ready to take it to the next level, now I'm going to go into quantum, okay? When you have an experience, like an internal experience in your mind, that has an amplitude of energy, okay? When that amplitude of energy is greater than the hardwired programming in your brain and the emotional conditioning in your body, you're going to become biologically changed for better or for worse. And it's your choice how you choose to react to that experience, positive or negative. And what you have to remember is emotional states change the internal mapping of your brain. So your biology literally changes, or better yet, the past no longer exists. Like you can rewrite a new pattern. New information then comes into the body and allows the energy to move, allows the cells to shift and to start vibrating in a healthy way. That's why things like listening to certain frequency, high vibrational music can help get your cells vibrating and into a normal pattern, right? That's why we have all these really cool things like, what's that mat called? Can't even think of the mat that you lay on. I know that lady's going to be here on Saturday. The cloud is really super cool. We have all these great vibrational tools that can help you actually shift and get your cells to vibrate at a healthy level. You have to come down at the World of Wellness. Obviously, that is not my area of expertise, but there are these cool things. I know that it's like a biomat, that's the word, that you actually sit on, and it starts getting your body to vibrate at the right frequency so that your cells can actually start to get new information and move you into a healthier state. All right. So that's part of the quantum phenomenon, okay? And the cool thing is our bodies are actually made to heal themselves, okay? And we're all quantum healers. We all have the ability to do this. It's just a matter of like focusing on it and knowing what you're up to, right? So if you're an anti-aging or a healthy aging or a longevity enthusiast, you can actually extend your life by changing your internal state. Okay. I don't know if you've heard about telomeres. Those are the little tails off the cells. Um, but Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's actually a neuroscientist who has showed the benefits of meditation, right? Getting yourself in an altered state and changing your internal environment. And I'm a big proponent for meditation. I do it daily, but I'm also a big proponent for prayer. I think they really go hand in hand. To me, prayer is asking specifically for what you want, and meditation is listening for the answers. And so my method, the soul intelligence method, is really a very specific form of prayer. So if I share with you, it's a book of charts, okay, that are in here. If I show them to you, you'll be like, what? What is all that nonsense? I don't understand it. But basically, in this book, I have got about 40 different charts that help me know what's going on with you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, and where emotions are stuck, where patterns exist that need to shift, where beliefs are that actually need to come up and out of your physical body. So it's doing the energy medicine in conjunction with what do I now need to put in my body to change that environment. And like I told you, emotions are what carry most of the weight within your body. And we talk about anti-aging. I have to share this story. All my friends here at the World of Wellness and Nutritional Frontiers are probably like so tired of hearing me say this story, but I'm still thrilled. Okay, it's still relevant. I had my 55th, look at that, 55th birthday on Sunday. And I went for a checkup, right? I've been living the lifestyle, taking all my nutritional frontier supplements, making sure that I'm healthy. I play tennis. I drink a lot of water. Well, mostly Pellegrino, if I'm being honest. This is like my staple. But I really like focus on the lifestyle and living the lifestyle. So I wanted to see, okay, how am I doing? So I went to one of our incredible healthcare professionals, Jacqueline Shedden in Tampa, and I had her do the blood workup and review with me what's going on in my body. And I stepped on this really cool scale. Now, no woman wants to step on a scale ever, right? We're all like, take the shoes, the belt, the purse, like, sure, I don't have any earrings or heavy jewelry on. Like, you want to get as light as possible if you're getting on a scale. So I get on this fancy scale, had like 4 discs on it. I think it's a bio something. Yeah. Okay. We're getting one here at the World of Wellness. I can't wait. I want to see if I'm going to get younger again. But anyway, so you get on this scale and it tells you the percentage of like your body fat, how much of your weight is muscle, how much of your body weight is visceral fat, your hydration levels, like all this cool stuff. So I get on the scale and I get this readout. And the nurse says to me, nobody ever gets this reading. I'm like, oh my goodness, is that good or bad? And she's like, no, it's really good. It's called standard physique. I go, what does that mean? She goes, it means most of your weight is muscle. You have more muscle in your body, which weighs more than fat than you do fat. And I was like, yes, how cool is that? Tennis works. That's my sport. Okay, so that was my first win. Well, actually, that was my second win. My first win was when I got on the scale and I saw it said the same thing in the afternoon that it did in the morning. That was my first win. The second one was finding out I have an athletic build, an athletic body with more muscle than fat. That was super cool because I was always hung up with the number on the scale. Okay. The third coolest thing she says to me, she goes, do you want to know your biological age? I'm like, I don't know. Do I? She goes, oh, yeah, you do. She said, you're 41. I'm like, what? I literally just turned 55 Sunday. And she told me biologically I'm 41. So when I tell you this works, living the lifestyle, it works, right? So how do we do that? How do we change our biological age? Well, changing your internal environment. How do you change your internal environment? It's mental, it's emotional, it's physical, spiritual, it's energetic. It's all of it, right? And I practice all of those things. So let me get back to Dr. Joe Dispenza. The reason why I shared that with you is today is actually my oldest son's birthday. My birthday's Sunday. His birthday is today. My oldest son is 31. So I told him he was a miracle birth at 10 years old for me. So obviously, he's feeling pretty good that his mom's in good shape. Oh, we have a question. Okay. Oh, absolutely. So, I actually what I do when I do a session, a soul intelligence session, is I work usually over Zoom, and so the sessions are recorded. I use the binder, the book, to find out what's going on, and so you hear me sharing with you what it is, which is really helpful, right? Because that helps move stuff up from the subconscious mind, or up from the physical body, or the emotional body, up and out, right? That's what I'm really asking to have happen so that you actually get to experience it with me. And the best part is you don't have to do anything. You just have to show up and receive. So talk about compliance, right? I'm not asking you to take all those supplements or take your shake. Jamie's doing that, but it all works together. But what I do is I just have you actually sit back and receive. So you don't have to do anything except listen and be open. So did I answer all of that? Yep. Tonight I'm doing a free session over Zoom at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's a group session, fantastic. Phil is gonna hook us up and send a link out so that you will be able to join us. I would love anybody is eligible to do that. And like I said, it's gonna be a group session, and what I'm gonna focus on is what's going on energetically right now, which is all about relationships. So if you didn't join me at the top of the hour, it's about how we are as individuals, how we see ourselves in the world, if we put ourselves first or we're putting others first. It's about letting old relationships that are no longer serving you and old patterns fall away, especially with our interpersonal relationships. Are we focusing on our independence or our codependence? And how do we shift those patterns? And that's what we're going to be working on, believe it or not, energetically as a collective race for the next 18 months. So, holy smokes. If that's not enough, right, that happened on Monday, that energetic shift um, that's going to occur for the next 18 months. But by the end of the week, we're going to move into Leo season. Okay. So I'm Cancer, Leo for going by the zodiac. And Leo is all about um, basically how you see yourself in the world, like that show, and allowing your true nature, like being true to yourself to come out. So that's part of what we're talking about, right? Like, how do you see yourself as an individual? Do you put yourself first or do you put yourself last? So that's energy that's shifting on the 22nd this week. So just in a couple of days. And at the same time, the planet Venus appears to move backwards in the sky, what we call retrograde. And Venus is the planet of love and relationships. Oh my gosh. That means we're going to have to start going over all of that old stuff that we don't want in our lives. And an asteroid called Chiron also moves backward in the sky, which is known as the wounded healer. So if emotional already? Holy smokes, wait till the end of the week. So we're gonna try and shift all this together tonight, okay? So the net is at 6 o'clock tonight. If you're interested, I will be doing a free soul intelligence session so you can experience it firsthand. I actually also teach this method to other healthcare professionals, people who are interested in energetic health, wanting to study bioenergetics. I actually have a fully online course available for anybody to start at any point, and I do a weekly coaching session with that group. And I actually have certified practitioners that I refer clients to because obviously I got a lot to do around here. So I don't do sessions for people as often as I would like to. So I'm now referring that out to people that I've personally trained. So it's very, very exciting. So I'm going to go back to Dr. Joe Dispenza for a second. We're good? Okay. Um, so Dr. Joe Dispenza is a neuroscientist, and he shared these experiments to show how you change your internal environment and how it affects your epigenetics, like your genetic makeup. All right. So people with type 2 diabetes were exposed to a really funny 1 hour comedy show. And they laughed super hard for an hour. That is one of my favorite things to do, by the way. If you are in a bum mood, if you can be around people that make you laugh, that is gonna shift your energy immediately. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull this out, not that you have to go. Um, I don't know if you've ever heard of the scales, the book by Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force, but he, studied how emotions vibrate at different frequencies. So I know you probably can't see this, you're gonna go boring. This is a chart. This is an example of one of the charts that I use, and it shows emotions. So at the very bottom of the chart are emotions like guilt and shame. Believe it or not, perfectionism and grief are all below fear. Like we think fear is like the lowest of the low, right? There's actually other emotions, including perfectionism, that is actually more detrimental. So you want to get yourself down in the pit of despair, focus on perfectionism. I highly recommend that you focus on um, progress, not perfection. That was a wise bit of advice from my mom a long time ago. Focus on progress, not perfection. Are you moving forward? Right? That's all you need to be worried about. So at the top of the scale, right, are things like love that vibrates at like 500 hertz. And so you can actually measure the different emotions. So things like, fear and guilt and shame vibrate at the beta level. So you've probably heard beta, alpha, theta, delta. Okay. Typically, when you get into a meditative state, that's kind of that love state, like around 460 to 500 megahertz, right? So that's where love is. And so when you talk about all of those high frequency musics that you want to listen to, musics, is that a word? I don't know. High frequency music programs or songs, they vibrate at about 460 and above, right? Because that's what we want our bodies to be. We don't want to be down in those lower vibrations. So it's really kind of fascinating. All right. So I was going with laughter, right? Laughter is like up there with joy. Joy is actually above love. So if you can get yourself like around funny people or people who make you laugh and just do silly stuff, that's a great way to shift your energy immediately. It doesn't cost anything either. We do a lot of laughing around here. Yesterday, we were actually having a really fun product development meeting, and all of us were laughing, and we were so high by the end of the day. We were like, "What's wrong with you?" We're like, "We're having a ball." Yeah, coming up with new product ideas. As a matter of fact, that just came out of my head. We have a brand new product, a world's first product ever coming out today. Oh my gosh, it's right here. Our liquid SPM. This is the world's first liquid SPM ever. If you had our SPM, they were in 2 gel caps. Now, this liquid SPM you can actually add to a shake. So if you're not someone who can take those larger capsules, this is a perfect fit. I'm so proud. World's first? That's amazing. Brought to you by Nutritional Frontiers. So cool. All right. There's lots of things you can use for with SPMs, but it's a great way to get inflammation out of your body. So as a tennis player, it's part of my daily regimen. I try and manage inflammation as much as I can because being a tennis player and being an older athlete, right? I need to manage my recovery. All right, back to laughter and Joe Dispenza. Okay, here we go. So what they did is they measured type 2 diabetes, a group of people, and sent them to a really funny comedy show. They laughed for about an hour. And what were the results? They measured them before and they measured them after, okay, their genes to see did their genes upregulate from the laughter, like do something good. The results were 20 genes upregulated just by people changing their mood. Okay. This is science. This is not, baloney. So by changing their internal state, they were actually able to instruct new genes to upregulate and make healthy proteins. There's also studies from UCLA that show men with prostate cancer were actually able to upregulate new genes for health and downregulate those genes for disease by meditating daily for 60 days. That's it. That's all they did differently. Not only that, here's where the anti aging thing comes in. They lengthen their telomeres and increase their longevity, their biological age, right? They got younger. Boom, just by meditating. I'm telling you, my 41-year-old biological age came about not just from one thing, it's from all of those things. It's managing a healthy lifestyle, right? Playing tennis, taking my supplements, making sure I do yoga to stretch, making sure I go to a chiropractor regularly to keep me in alignment, making sure I manage my energy, meditating, prayer. It is all of those things. It's working for a job where I feel like I'm a part of something bigger than myself. It is being in full alignment, right? In touch with my soul intelligence. So it's really interesting. Dr. Joe Dispenza does these retreats where he has people in a retreat for like 4 days where they meditate. And people who attended were actually able to reverse serious health conditions in just 4 days. Okay. There are actual, real, true benefits. So when people begin to heal their genes, they upregulate new genes and downregulate the other genes that cause disease or imbalance. It proves that we can affect our environment, not just this external environment, right? Where we have to manage all of the toxicity that's out there. So whether that's like negative messaging from the major media or whether we're making sure we're avoiding Roundup, right? Whatever the toxicities are that we're trying to manage, we have to manage our own internal toxicity. So, one of the ways that you can affect your internal state is with the soul intelligence method. So, what is it? Basically, it's the next Reiki, people. Okay. It is a revolutionary healing system that gets to the root cause of chronic illnesses. Okay. By addressing what's stuck, what energy is trapped and not in motion. Because the word emotion is energy, in motion. And when it's not in motion, that's when the trouble starts. Right? With my bioenergetic therapy, you can actually release physical, emotional, and mental stuff, tension, trauma, that's truly the root cause of most of our problems. And what makes it different from other approaches is it doesn't require you to do anything except show up. Show up to the Zoom tonight at 6 p.m. for free and check it out for yourself and see, does this resonate with you? And if it does, great. Then you can talk to me about working with a practitioner or maybe even learning the method to help yourself and help other people, because that's what I'm really called to do. I've got lots of healthcare professionals that we work with throughout the country who are learning the method because they want to add it to their practice, because they know after you heal some functional medicine, foundational things like the gut, there is a gut brain connection, right? Now they're recognizing, oh my gosh, most of my patients come to me and they talk to me about all of what's going on in their life, what's not working, all of this emotional upheaval, all of the trauma, we all go through it, whether we lose a spouse, like through death or divorce, or all of the normal life trauma that we go through, we suffer, right? We hold that energy if we don't move it up and out of our bodies. And a lot of times we don't even know it's there. We don't even know the recurring patterns because it's stuck in that subconscious mind of ours that's running the show. So how do you get to your subconscious mind? You have someone else help you figure it out. And that's where the soul intelligence method comes in. So if you're seeking health and healing and transformation for yourself, then the soul intelligence method might be the perfect thing for you to check out. It's a game changer for healers, for functional medicine practitioners, healthcare enthusiasts, right? Coaches, anybody who wants to improve their own health, their patients' health and outcomes, and increase their effectiveness in helping other people. And that's what I'm really called to do. I'm in the process of writing my book on the soul intelligence method, how to up level from within. So look out. It'll be a bestseller by the end of the year, Phil, if I have time, if I can make it happen. But I'm really excited about having this course available and online for anybody to start at any time. It's basically on demand. And so if you're interested in learning more about that, I'll also be happy to talk to you about that and send a link. But if you are a healer who wants more clients, you want to add a new modality to your practice, this certification program can help connect you with doctors and healthcare practitioners who are full of clients to send your way, right? Nobody goes to the doctor and just tells them what's wrong physically. We're always telling them what's going on, what's wrong, what's going on in my life. Oh, I'm a burnt out executive who's constantly flying across the country with no adrenals left. I don't sleep, right? And my marriage is falling apart and this is going wrong, right? My kids don't talk to me. Like all of that stuff is what's coming out in your appointment with your doctor. It's not just what's going on with you physically, right? And so that's where this method comes in. So if you're a healthcare professional and you want another revenue stream without doing the work, I can actually connect you with other certified practitioners who can do this work for you, right? And work out a referral program. If you're a busy healthcare professional already running a full practice and you don't have time to learn another modality, consider investing in a staff member. Have somebody on your team learn. I'm in the process of training somebody right here at the World of Wellness to be able to do this work firsthand right here in Pittsburgh. So imagine helping clients achieve the balance between their mind and their body and their spirit, right? And releasing all of the physical, emotional, and mental trauma and tension that's the root cause of most of your problems. Well, the soul intelligence method has this transformational power, and it's helped countless individuals achieve this lasting and healing transformation. So, if you are interested in learning more about it, again, I will be going live on a Zoom at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight, and we're going to focus on relationship, the relationship to yourself and the relationship to others, a lot about romantic relationships, family relationships, putting yourself first and allowing yourself to be really seen, right, and held. And with that, the energy of Leo coming in. Leo loves to be in the sun, loves to be in the spotlight, but it's really about being true to yourself and bringing that person forward. So if that's of interest to you, I know Phil is going to put that link in the notes, and we'll be happy to welcome anybody who wants to check it out firsthand. Phil, anything else we got in terms of questions? Excellent. All right. Well, if you're interested in trying the liquid SPM, come on down to the World of Wellness today. We are sampling it. It has a great citrus flavor, so don't be freaked out by it. And it actually, I had challenges using just regular omega-3 oil that it would just give me indigestion. SPM doesn't do that for me. It actually gives me the benefit of the anti-inflammatories with the fish oil without having a weird aftertaste and also without upsetting stomachs. So again, that's part of my own health routine. I use SPMs, I use HA plus, and our X Flame to manage my joint health and inflammation, especially related to, playing tennis and staying healthy. So I hope everybody had a really good time learning a little bit more about the soul intelligence method and the field of bioenergetics. It's been around since the 1950s, by the way. It's not anything that I invented. It's just a way to kind of access what's stuck within us and shift it up and out. So I wish everybody a happy and healthy Wednesday. We call it WINS Day. So I would love to hear about all of your wins, health and otherwise. So I look forward to seeing many of you tonight at 6 p.m.